Hey everybody. So it's kind of early on Wednesday. It's probably 11:30 maybe. I'm headed down to the scrapyard to drop off some stuff. Probably thinking, why am I going to the scrapyard? Well, I'll get into that in a minute. So there was something else I wanted to say. I'm going to try to make this rather quick because it's I'm on the public trail headed down towards town, and it usually takes me about 20 minutes to do this whole trail. And you know how I like to ramble and get off topic, so yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'm taking in some scrap at the scrapyard. I'm going to post the picture of the receipt at the end. I have copper and aluminum. I didn't bring the brass because I have more to clean, and I figured I'll just wait till I have a lot more of it, because technically, for me, brass is a bit rarer to find, because I'm usually doing like electrical cords and circuit boards, and the brass is usually the least predominant metal on circuit boards and stuff. So, I mean, you find aluminum heat sinks, you find the copper donuts, and the transformers, but you don't find a whole lot of brass except the connectors. So I decided that I just leave the brass at my house, see how much I can pile up, and wait for the price to rise just on that, because by the time I get enough to make it worth a trip, the price is either going to drop dramatically or improve. So, anyways, so I'm walking down because it's mostly downhill to get there, but it's uphill to get back. And I decided that I would pay for a bus ride one way. So I'd either take the bus down and walk back, or walk down with all the weight on my back and then take the bus back. I decided the latter. I decided I'm going to walk down and bring the bus back because, well, it's probably only going to get warmer. So I figured this would probably be this would be a better way of doing things, and I still get 5-ish miles of hiking down. So, yeah. Furthermore, the reason I'm going to the scrapyard, even though I said I wasn't going to, I said I was going to figure out another way. You remember that thing I told you about good way to lose a friend, and that me and the guy that I usually deal with in these regards, for either just for, BS conversation or scrapping or something. Well, after all that happened and I posted my video, right? It was a couple of days. I mean, I don't go down every day, obviously. It was a couple of days. I went down, knocked on the door, right? And he's like, "You remember what you said? Just get out of here." And he was like, "She said you did more." I'm like, "Whatever, dude." Like, that's all I could really say. He hurried up and walked away. So, he didn't even give me a chance to explain myself. So, I'm going to tell you the story. And I'm going to tell you my analysis of the situation as quickly as possible, because I put a little bit of thought into it, and it does bug me a little bit. I was more surprised than I thought I was going to be. See, when I say he's the closest thing to a friend I have, that's not setting the bar very high. That's not setting the bar very high. Like, I don't have many, of any friends, to be honest. Well, he's nobody that would wholeheartedly even, like I said, he'd be the closest thing that I would even consider maybe kind of a friend, and he's as old as my father. And most of the reason we even talk is because we share common interests. And he's not usually a piece of trash towards me, so it kind of just works out. So I stopped by. He's like, "Oh, let me tell you what perspired that night." So I went down for the Memorial Day thing that he invited me to, right? He said there was going to be beer and stuff, so I got it in my head that I was going to have a couple beer. When I got there was no beer. That's fine, no big deal. It was still kind of warm out to start drinking anyway, so, you know, he did offer me some weird, fruity, girly, shoddy things, and I was like, no thanks. That's just not my style. So, I already had it in my head that I wanted to drink that night, so I went down to the bar to see if I could shoot some pool. Well, I didn't actually get down there till like 8:50, 9 o'clock. And when I walked in, she's like, I already called last call. That kind of irked me a little bit, because I kind of planned on drinking, and I kind of planned on shooting pool. And there was at least 5 people there. And for that place, unless they have a function going on, 5 people's kind of a, I don't want to say a crowd, but an average population. So for her to call last call at 9 o'clock on a holiday was a bit off-putting to me, but whatever. So on the way back, I just have to go one street down from the bar and around to go past this guy's house. And I figured, you know, what the heck, might as well sit and talk for a couple of minutes. So I go, and his daughter's outside. And his daughter's checking the oil. Now, it's 9 o'clock at night, so it's dark. She has a light. She's checking the oil, whatever, you know. Kind of a weird time to do it. But I stop and talk to her because, once again, I don't really consider her a friend, but she's never really done anything to me. So you know, I take conversation where I can get it sometimes. So I was talking to her, and her dad comes out and was talking about the oil and stuff. And I was sitting and chatting with him, and she's trying to put the dipstick back in, which the dipstick is the thing that checks the oil. It goes in an oil tube. I don't know a lot about cars, so, you know, it's whatever, but that's what they always called it as long as I was alive, a dipstick. So, and she was trying to get it back in the dipstick compartment, and I ran over, and I grabbed it, and I helped her guide it in. So, I went over, off to the side, you know, said real quietly to her dad, I just helped your daughter get it in. Obviously a joke. Obviously a car joke that I'm sure he's heard a million times. Granted, it was about his daughter. Granted, I can understand feeling a certain way about that. And, to be fair, after it happened and he was like, well, let's just keep on with the night and then I'll tell you some other stuff. But, excuse me. To be fair, I was standing there talking to him. She finished up her dipsticking and went over and sat on a swing and was on her phone doing something. And he's like, I'm going back inside, talk to my daughter. So this was weird, right? This was weird already because he acted slightly offended. Like, to me, my analysis of the situation was he thought it was offensive, but he knew it was a joke. Like that's how I perceived it. So he's like, talk to my daughter, and I was like, okay, it's a little weird if you just got off-put by something I said and you're telling me to sit out in the dark alone with your daughter. It's a little weird, but it's whatever. We just spent most of the day chit-chatting anyway. So I sit and talk to her for probably 30 minutes tops. She's doing a majority of the talking, and it was real weird because she was talking about past relationships, and she was getting into some pretty graphic detail. So, you know, I thought that was a little strange. Somewhere along the way, I got up to leave. I was like, I gotta pee. I'm gonna go. I mean, I could have went to their house and peed, but, you know, it was about time for me to head back anyway. So, I was like, I gotta pee. I'm gonna go. You know, what only thing I really said was that if you're looking for advice from me, that I think you're not an idiot and you're kind of cute. Look for somebody that appreciates you. Don't rush into it, and look for somebody outside of this town. And I left. That's pretty much how the conversation went. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the way she was talking was far more inappropriate and far more off-putting than anything I said. So, you know, it's whatever, because I have an unbiased opinion on conversations like that, because I feel like in the world, there'd be a lot more happiness if we were straightforward with the things we want to say. So, I try to keep an open mind and try not to be judgmental. So when I went by and knocked on the door, he's like, just get out of here, don't come back. You know what you said about the dipstick, and, you know, she said you did something else. Here's my analysis of the situation. 1, his daughter is a bold-faced liar. 2, she took something way out of context. 3, he was just looking for an excuse to stop talking to me in the first place. Or 4, I swear there was a 4th one. And I say it was like, you know, for some reason he was looking for an excuse to cut ties in the first place. She lied, or she mistook something. The point of the matter is, regardless of the level of our friendship, regardless of where we sit as friends, and as I said, even though I consider him the closest thing to a friend I got, that's not a high bar. Like, you don't understand. That's not very high on the... I mean, the mailman. I consider the mailman like a closer friend than most. You get my point. So it's not a high bar. But considering that he would straight up just completely write me off, not give me a chance to explain, not discuss it, or anything in those matters, just says, you know, 1, he's immature, or he had a chip on his shoulder to begin with and was just looking for an excuse. And he obviously didn't value, you know, anything we've had as, you know, affiliates, to just straight up write it off. So that's kind of where I'm sitting. You know, I'm thinking like, the way I look at it is, he's no different than the other scumbags around here. And it just took him longer to you know, form his opinion and sign off the paperwork, so to speak, on the friendship. Now this shocked me because there's things he does that I really dislike. There are things he does that I dramatically dislike. But I overlook them because they don't directly affect me. So I don't bother bringing it up. I don't bother, you know, anything about it. But we've always been respectful towards each other. And, you know, as far as it goes anyway. So I thought it would take more than a slightly off-color joke to have him completely just, you know, implode the affiliation that we had. So yeah. Anyways, when I knocked on the door, I had two goals in mind. First goal was I wanted to dump the scrap. I figured it's probably about 40 to 50 bucks. It's a good amount to get rid of. I was gonna see if he was down to do the scrap thing. So that was my first goal. My second goal was, if he brought up the joke, that I was going to apologize. I was going to be like, you know, man, I'm sorry. I could understand how that could be viewed as disrespectful, and I didn't mean it that way, but it was wholeheartedly a joke, and I thought that would bury it. But apparently I was incorrect on his level of maturity, and I was incorrect on how things go, which I should have taken a note from a conversation I had with my uncle, who they had a fight and literally just stopped talking for months. The difference is, I have things to gain from talking to him, but I can guarantee you this: unless he comes to me with an apology, I will not rekindle that relationship. I wasn't getting enough from it to be treated like a child. So that'll be that. Now I'm gonna finish complaining. I will throw a picture up of the yield. My expectations is $40, but I'm not sure how much the price dropped. So we'll see. I'm at the end of the trail, so I'll see you guys later. Let me know what you think. if you watch this whole thing. Let me know what you think. Alright, so I already shot an outro, but I kind of figured that I kind of rushed it. So I thought, you know what, I could do better. So that's what I'm going to do. Here is the verdict on the money situation. So, yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a disappointment. I think I lowballed it at $30 and highballed it at $40, and I got $6 less than my lowball offer. So I know I said this before, but I'm really not going back. So yeah, I'm gonna find a different thing to do, whether it be like, I don't think I'm gonna quit scrapping because it's just stupid. Like, it's a really good outlet. But I think I'm just gonna try to save it back and find a different way of selling it, because I'm 100% sure now. So I'm not dealing with it anymore. Now, like I said, I know there was a couple occasions where I said this, like, I'm not going back down and talking to dude. I'm not going to the bar, you know. I know I said these things, and I usually go back on it, but you gotta look at it from my point of view. So, the club I paid money to become a member to, and it's the only place I can get into since I'm a member, because there's no real bars close by. They're all clubs. So, if I want to go to a bar, that's where I have to go. I don't like my living situation, but if I want to have a bed and food, I have to put up with her. I have to put up with that situation. If I want to sell scrap, I have to go to that scrapyard because I walk. You know, it's not that easy for me to say I'm not going to do this anymore and just not do it, because my options are extremely limited. Extremely limited. But I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I will not talk to that guy again until I get an apology. In which I won't get an apology, because that's how people are around here. So I will not talk to that guy again. And I will not go to that scrapyard again. Because, you know, it's one thing to get ripped off. It's another thing to willingly let it happen. So, I'm just not doing it. As far as the bar is concerned, I drastically reduced going there. But, you know, like I said, my options are limited. If I want to do anything, I only have so many things I can do. So that's just a good way to break up the monotony of day-to-day life. So quitting the bar scene isn't gonna be quite as easy as finding a new income for like scrapping wise, or, you know, the cutting the grass, or, you know, finding odd jobs. You know, I can do that pretty consistently. Like, there's gaps in work, but I usually find something to do often enough to keep a few bucks in my pocket. So yeah. So you can mark my words, and I am in fact a man of my word. I for sure will not put up with that again. So it's one of those things where it would be in my best interest to deal with it. Like, it'd be in my best interest to deal with the scrapyard, because it is an income and it's the only place I can go. It would be in my best interest to make some sort of amends with that situation that I talked about previously. But because, you know, that gave me some work outlets. That gave me a reason not to be in my room on my computer all freaking day. So it would be in my best interest to try to endure this kind of stuff. But you know what? If I want to have fun, I have to put up with a bar. If I want to have fun, if I want to get out and do something, I have to pretty much put up with what I put up with at the bar. The price of the drinks, you know, the weird occurrences, you know, I pretty much have to put up with that. If I want to have a place to sleep and I want to have a place to eat, unless, you know, until something changes, I have to put up with her. I have to put up with that situation. I have no other option. But I don't have to deal with the scrapyard, and I don't have to deal with him, and I don't have to deal with several other things. So it's like the current take on cancer. You know, just cut it out. I can't get rid of all of it. I can't change everything. I can't make life perfect or bearable even. But I ain't got to put up with this garbage. So this is my outro, and unfortunately this will be the last scrap run for quite some time. I did, before I end this, I had a thought that, seeing that I'm not going to quit scrapping, I was thinking about like finding a way to compress like wire that I get into like small bricks. Like, I can't melt it because I can't get a high enough temperature. But if I can make some sort of box that I can compress down, that I can make like little copper wire brick things, and I can stash them somewhere. And I think that might be a possible idea. I am very happy I did not bring the brass in. It was probably about 4 pounds. It would have came out to about, I think it's $2.75 a pound, so that's what, $8 and $3, $11. So it would have been about 11 more bucks if I got a fair price. But I'm glad I didn't, so as I could figure something else out for it. Interesting fact, something strange I was thinking. I'm a rather observant fellow sometimes. So when I was there, it was the guy that lowballed me a few times. And he smokes Newports. Interesting fact is my bill, this is probably completely unlinked, but what I got as far as money was probably about $11 short of what I thought I was going to get. And a pack of Newports where I live is approximately $11. So just an interesting thing to think about. But all right, I am out of here.